So participants, please try to restrict yourself with one and only question, because Warren actually has just tested me. So he has to go. So I request to all the participants, please try to permit yourself with only one and two questions. And so Warren, I request you, welcome back. Warren, welcome back. Yeah. So all the participants, remember one thing, and it's almost midnight over there in Canada. So try to understand that our guest teacher has to leave. So try to ask as low as possible. I mean, very few questions are permitted to ask. So who is going to ask now?
Madhvi ma'am said that.
Shall I?
Madhvi ma'am is ready. I think so.
Yeah.
Madhvi ma'am.
Saujanya garu, are you going to ask?
No, sir. Let them ask, because
Please.
our participants are enthusiastic to ask.
Please go ahead.
Hello, Warren. Hi.
Hello.
So, give us some practical tips. We have been discussing a lot of philosophy now. So, how do you promote students' voice and choice? Because you have been working with the primary school students, so they have a lot of choices. They don't listen to you, and they want to tell you so much. So, how do you promote student voice and choice to help them become self-directed learners? That's what my question.
That's a really deep question. I like that question. Voice and choice is so important, particularly when you get into those middle years. They want that autonomy, right? They want to be heard. They want to be able to control their future. And so what I do, a strategy that I work with the kids, is I will set parameters around what they want them to do. So for instance, I would take a subject on in science and say a geology project, and I'll say, okay, I'll teach the main points that I want them to know about the curriculum. And then I say, there's all these other topics here that you could research and chase down. And so I would give them a project to do. And I use a structure from High Tech High out of San Diego in California. And they would create a project. So the first step in that process was doing research. The second step was creating a project. The third step was create and revise your project. And the fourth one was present it to an audience. And so when they have an authentic audience to present their learning to, generally the product that they produce is higher. So that gives them the voice and choice kind of thing very accurately there. So I would typically I would say, here's a list of 20 subjects maybe that you might want to be interested in researching. And I said, if there's something else within this topic that you're interested in, let me know. I would always approve the topics before they went too far down the trail. So that was what I would do with project-based learning. So it was with clear criteria. I used the project steps from High Tech High. And another little graphic that I used with the kids was with James Nottingham out of England. He was talking about the learning pit. There's an easy way, there's an easy path, and then there's a hard path. The hard path is the one where you go through a whole bunch of struggles and figure out the curvy road to your learning goal. And that's where you do your most learning. I've told my students that, you can do the easy path and just get this assignment done and hand it in and all it's done. But the one who's learned the least is you. So if they choose something that's difficult and they wrestle with it and they struggle with it, they present it in a different way than they maybe used to, that helps them grow as learners. And so that's what I promote with my kids. So voice and choice, it can come down to how they present their learning. It could be the topics that they choose. And that's really important that you're thinking about that in India as well. Appreciate that. Did that answer your question?
Thank you.
So,
thanks.
Any more participants? One or two questions only. Please.
Shall I, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
One more question. In India, we have many problems with devices like mobiles or laptops. What are your ways to overcome these problems in your country?
That that's an interesting. It varies from place to place, right? We have schools where there's lots of devices and lots of connectivity, and then there's places where there's less, and so that becomes harder. What our school division has done is they've tried to provide some technology to each of the schools, and so that there is connectivity. All our schools are wired with internet and connections like that, so that's handled. We're moving towards high schools are all bring your own device, so students would bring a device with them, a laptop of some sort, and teachers would be doing a lot of digital content. In middle years, there's more and more students that are bringing their own, but then there's a whole bunch of students where families they cannot afford that. And so what our school division is doing is that they're providing materials and things, electronics for these students to use primarily at school. Now I'll have to back up during the COVID when we went all remote and had everybody learning it at home. If you didn't have a computer, if you didn't have a device, the school division was able to find a device and provide the family with a device so the student could continue their learning. So we're very blessed that way.
Is there any other method or practice in your country?
What practice in my country?
Yeah. In this pandemic period, learning process is through online only.
We had
Students are any another practice or method in your country?
We went through 2 sessions where the schools are closed down. So last spring, end of March to end of June, they were closed. And then we had summer break from July and August. September, the schools opened up again with distancing. So I'm looking in Harry's classroom, they would have 2 meters of space between every student. So you'd have to take out half your chairs, Harry. I don't know, or move the walls out. So we had some teachers that were teaching in 2 classrooms. So they would teach in one classroom and have a group of kids in another classroom. So they'd have space between them and they'd have people working that way. So during the fall, we had classes, and then this spring again, the pandemic flared up over here, and the students had to go remote again. And so they ended the year in remote. And so they've been out since, I'm going to say middle of April kind of thing, April, May, June. So that's what they've been doing. My particular situation, the school that we had kids that were immune compromised. So students that were in surgeries, they would live with someone who was immune compromised. So they couldn't go to school anyway. So they spent the entire year online in remote. So September to June was all remote for them.
Okay, thank you.
So
Very nice.
Thank you one and all for taking an active part in this session. So I think I need to wind up this session. So any more questions? Last one question I can permit.
Yes. Can I, sir, because this is the last question, can I hear a poem from the music teacher of Canada?
Yes.
I'm not ready for that one. Sorry.
Okay,
Or any kind of music, because you are a music teacher, na? That's why.
I don't have any of my instruments with me right now. None of them.
No, not a musical instrument. Orally, it's enough for us.
Oh boy. I'm not comfortable with that right now. It's like 12:19 in the morning.
So very good morning. Very good
I will
morning.
use that as my out. It's 12:19. I'll use that as my out.
Thank you so much, Warren, for sparing your valuable time. I think you last time also you contributed your services to my students, and that too exactly at this time around, in fact. So no teacher, in fact, tries to burn the midnight oil just like you did today. So thank you so much, and we can understand your passion and your commitment towards your profession. Thank you so much, Ramesh Garu, for being with us for all these minutes, and you have asked wonderful questions.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And Saujanya ma'am, we have to be thankful to you because you are the only one, I think, behind this particular sessions. You are the brainchild of these particular programs.
Thank you so much,
ma'am.
sir. Thank you.
So thank you one and all for organizing and for taking part in this session. Thank you so much. We will see you soon and in another session. Warren, thank you so much. And see you.
Sir, I have a request, sir. Hari, sir.
Yeah. No.
Can I ask you, sir? Sir, next time it would be a interactive session. I think I'd like to. I mean, all of our teachers like to watch the interactive session so that everybody will know how they are doing at their classroom. So that we would like to know. We would like to watch that video with our educators. So please plan for that, sir.
Yeah, definitely, ma'am.
It's my request. It's my request, sir.
Okay, ma'am. Definitely, we will plan very soon. So thank you so much, Warren, again. So see you soon.
Thank you so much. You have a very important job. Thank you for all that you do. Appreciate
Sir,
it.
Warren, sir, thank you so much for attending this meeting. And I'm Saujanya. I'm so glad to meet you through this session. And from behalf of all my teachers, we are thankful to you, sir. Thank you so much for your passion and dedication among the students. And thank you so much. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. I hope I could help. So
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so
have a
much,
good
sir.
day.
Good
Bye-bye.
night, sir. Good night. Good night.